There are big, tall, terrible, awesome, scary, wonderful giants in the sky.
This is Jeremy Jordan from the dressing room at City Center. The process for creating this character was really interesting because we were given the songs first, and then John sort of began to mold us into his kind of strange world that he's created. And I think this is actually very easy because we're forced to bring ourselves to this, to these characters, because there's not really, there's no dialogue, there's not like a hardcore, background to these characters. They're just kind of these four souls that are kind of every man in their own sort of ways, that describe different types of people in the city. I just kind of latched onto that youthful young guy that's still new to the city and still gets excited by everything, and throughout the course of the story kind of maybe gets a little bit jaded, and but in the end sort of finds his happiness. Well, I gotta say, performing on stage is so much better. At least in the moment, you certainly reach a much smaller audience, on a nightly basis, whatever. But to have the vibe and the whole connection with the audience and the live kind of in the moment aspect of it, there's just nothing like it. On television and film, it feels much more safe. Although when you're watching it back and you kind of have no control over the final product, it feels very exposed. But when you're kind of pressured to deliver the product 100%, like final, version right in front of a live audience, it's so much more gratifying to complete that. And as an actor in TV and film, you kind of do your work, and then a number of months or even years later, they put it all together, they choose the takes, and you kind of just hope that you look good. And on stage, you kind of have the final say as an actor. Not that you're not doing what the directors told you to do, and hitting your spots and singing all the right notes that you were taught. You feel like you're more in control, and I'm slightly a bit of a control freak, so it's nice to be on stage. Yeah, I think ordinarily having 2 weeks of rehearsal, it would not be near enough. But considering our minimalist kind of approach to this show, it's 90 minutes. It's only songs, so there's no dialogue. All the stage work is done mostly between the numbers. We're not rewriting anything because it's all old lyrics from Sondheim. There's no set moves or anything crazy like that. And God, man, we've run the show probably like 14 times on our own, maybe only a couple times with the band now, but we feel very prepared. So yeah, I feel great, and we were excited. I didn't really feel jittery, like, am I gonna remember my lyrics? Like, we've done it so much. So with a show like this, yeah, it felt like we had plenty of time. I'm sure we could have really delved in and done a lot more, but singing with the band out there just kind of makes it really easy. It's strange because we began our rehearsals without any jazz arrangements. We had done our sort of how we were going to cut the songs and maybe how we were going to change them to fit our story, and maybe like do a little trim here, or maybe slow this part down. Like, we did all that, but even so, we didn't have any of these crazy jazz arrangements. We were just doing it with a piano to how Sondheim had originally written it. And so when we finally went to what we call the Sitzprobe, which is where the orchestra and the cast get together and they play for the first time, we were kind of thrust into that jazz world and sort of forced to find that groove and that rhythm, and suddenly the songs kind of transformed and became something else. There was nothing we could do to prepare for that. just kind of go with it. They make it so easy because they play so well, and you know the song so well inside of you that it just kind of melts. And I think that was the whole point of this whole thing, was sort of an experiment to see if this classical Sondheim musical theater work could translate into this very different jazz world, and I think we're kind of proving that experiment is working really great.